Good evening, everyone. I would be presenting my E4090 module to Raspberry Pi learning journey. My name is Pranil Sahu, and my SID, as you can see on the slides, is so I will be the module 2 went for 5 days. As you can see, from day 1 to day 5, we covered terminal and setup, the object detection, then the OCR and text recognition, then the sensor and Python programming. Then we moved on to IoT and local server. On D1, we set up the Linux terminal because, as you know, like the Linux terminal is the control center of the Raspberry Pi, and we first used hardware to install Raspberry Pi first on the Raspberry Pi board, and then used it to connect it to another computer, and then we used like WinSCP to like move files from like our own local computer to the Raspberry Pi computer. We completed the quiz 1 and quiz 2 to validate our understanding of the introductory material on the terminal basics. So the terminal basics, as you know, it covers like three things: the file management thing, package installation, and the running and scripts and the programming scripts that you can run using the terminal itself. So on day 2, we moved on like the knowledge that we used on like the day 1 that we learned on day 1. Like we used it to like make our own object recognition system using the camera model that was there on the Raspberry Pi board. So we used like a machine learning algorithm for object detection, but the camera was there on the Raspberry Pi computer, and that is how like we used it to detect the objects using the camera of the Raspberry Pi board itself. On day 2, we also completed the quiz 3 and quiz 4. So which involved the part of object detection and questions related to our understanding of it. On day 3, we used the live text recognition with OCR. This also involves the camera module that we used on like the day 2. We completed quiz 5 and quiz 6 and submitted our OCR results. So on OCR results, like the live text recognition has like three major problems, and that is the lighting, text angle, and also the background itself. So it is very sensitive to like the real world conditions itself. So we need to be very accurate with our like Python scripts. So we used like two things here. We used like the terminal commands as well as like Python scripts. So the Python scripts, like we used it to change the image so that like the OCR is so the camera can recognize using the OCR system. So we changed like the lighting background and like skewing, rotating, like all of those things on the image itself to make it easier for the camera to recognize the text. So on day 3, as I said, like we need to pre-process image and we did it with like Python. Then we need to detect text. Then we need to recognize characters. That also we did like all of those things using like the Python itself. On day 4, we were supposed to do like the three games. We need to implement three games using the Matrix LED that was there on the Raspberry Pi computer, and we implemented the snake game, random arrow game, and the compass. The compass and random arrow game was using the magnetometer that was there on like the Raspberry Pi board. So we need to be very careful and very accurate with our Python scripts so that like it can recognize the movements fast, and you can also play the game using the matrix LED. So that's what we did. We basically implemented like the whole IoT system to like the software that we were developing. So as I said, this were the three challenges and like the only one board to like implement it on. On day 5, we used like the IoT data logging and the local data server. So first we did like sensing the temperature using the temperature sensor that was there on like the Raspberry Pi board. Then we used like that data to put it into the database, and then we use the servo to and that like which collects like all those data and like pre-processes it to display it on our screen itself. So, and this is how like the IoT workflow went on. So we first sense the data, store the data, then we serve the data, then we display the data itself. As you can see, like this is like the whole thing wrapped into like one module itself. So during this 5 days, I learned how to integrate like the IoT IoT to our software, and then use it to display like meaningful insights. So basically, like using like the parameters and that involve like real-time environment variables like temperature, humidity, and all of those things, and basically make it measurable using the Raspberry Pi board and displaying it on the screen itself. And using that, like we can make like certain very different kind of things. So with this, I would like to end up my E4090 module 2 summary, and thank you for listening.